Hi, this is Debbie at Color Everywhere, and today I'm working on a couple of book covers that I will be working in later on the inner parts of them. But right now I'm just working on the covers. Yesterday I went shopping, and one of the things I purchased had these little pieces of cardboard as spacers inside the packaging. I tossed them in the trash can, and just as soon as I tossed them in there, I thought, oh, that would make nice fat little books. So I thought today that I would take these and start some covers for them. Get started on some covers. So I decided to start with a Tim Holtz product. Tim Holtz Ideology Tissue Wrap Melange, and I really love this stuff. It's very pretty. It comes in a package with the serrated edge, so you can just pull it out and tear it off. And I've used it for a lot of things, and there's still a lot more in there. I'm going to keep using it because I do like it. And it's basically print. It's almost like tissue paper, but it's more like deli paper or something. I don't know what it is, but I really love the way it works. So, because of the butterflies and the moths, I'm going to use that as part of the theme. And this is one width of the paper that I pulled out, and I'm just going to cut it in half. I'm going to use this paper on both of the little books, but I'm going to finish them just a little bit differently by using different colors and what have you. I'm also going to be using napkins, and that's where a lot of the color is going to come from, is the napkins. So, and here are some napkins. I've already cut these in half. You see there's music, flowers, butterflies. So I thought those would go well with the background. And there's another one. Different kind of flowers. These books aren't that big, so it's not going to take a lot. They're only 3.5. Well, the book will be 3.5 by 5, approximately, real close to 5, and then just a little over 2 inches deep. So it's a lot longer than it is wide. And just so they would look a little different, I wanted to bring in a different color on the second book. So here are some of the things I'm going to use. First, I'm going to take this piece of cardboard. One side's white, the other is tan as normal, or brown, whatever color you want to call that. But I'm going to use the white as the outside. And I'm just using some golden matte media as my glue. And it's just in a little, I put in a little squeeze bottle. It's labeled. I have too many different things not to label stuff anymore. So I'm just spreading it on a little bit. Keep it capped. And then taking a paintbrush and spreading it around on all the surfaces. I want to make sure that everything has a good coat, the whole side, because I want all of the paper to stick down. This will also make it so that once it's dry, I'll be able to use sprays and stuff on there without totally destroying the tissue or the napkins. Okay. I almost stuck my brush in my mouth. I guess I can't do that and talk at the same time. Okay, so kind of wanted this. I want the butterfly showing on at least part of the front. and also the music. So and I'm working on my craft mat because I will be turning this over while it's still wet. I'm barely pressing on this. I just want it to glue all the way into the crack there. I'll try to do this without breaking the paper, which I don't think it will break. It's very strong considering that it's like a tissue paper. Let's see, it's acting like tissue paper here. And the glue is oozing through. So I'm going to go ahead while it's still wet. And I wanted to show you this little tool that I've had for a little while. So if these are still available, or either way, I'll put the link down below. And this is by Colorway Arts by Claudia Squio, I believe, in Michigan. And this is a metal tool. That's used to for when you're mitering the corners. I just want to make sure my paper's pulled all the way up. And it gives you a good measurement so that you know how much to cut off so that your corners will miter nicely. Because you need to leave some in the corner. Normally I would just go ahead and cut this with a knife, but since I'm on this craft mat, I don't want to cut it. So you just put it at each corner like this. And you can mark it, or you could just go ahead and cut it with a knife to show. And really I should have done it like that. Go ahead and do it the right way. Now, since I didn't cut my paper to the correct size to start with, I'll make sure that it's right now. I'll use this as a marker. Okay, now I'm just going to take my ruler right quick and go from mark to mark. I'm just making a line so I'll know where to cut. And what this tool does, one of the things it does is shows you the exact amount to trim your corners so they come out really nice and you don't have a lot of extra paper in the way. And also the amount for the sides. Now, you could make this part wider. I can make it this wide, cut it here, make it this wide, and it will work. It just depends, you know, on how thick your board is. But I think this will be plenty for what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to use the amount on the tool. And that's basically all it does, as far as I know. It just gives you a place to mark. I mean, you know you have to cut it there somewhere, but I will often get it too short and my corner will show or something will happen. So this is a nice way to be able to keep track of that. Alright, now, see how this is still looking. Okay. And like I said, I'll put the link in that for that below. Alright, now I'm just going to glue this side down, and I still had some glue left on my brush, so I'm going to use that first. I wasn't too worried about the edges of the, not enough glue, about the edges of the cardboard showing, because I'm going to be gluing up several things over, and I don't think it'll be a problem at all. It'll just add to it. And I'm getting glue here in the side also so that it will stick on the edge, because it's kind of thick. It has a pretty good depth to it for a piece of cardboard. Let's try now. Come on, paper. And I don't mind if it's a little textured either, because that just adds to it. I'm having so much trouble getting enough glue on here. But we'll get it on there sooner or later. There. Now in the end, what happens here is I'm going to put the glue, and I'm going to make sure it gets well down into there, to that edge, and the rest of the edge. Then this end gets pushed in. Just enough. And there's just enough paper there to cover that corner. Now normally it's a little bit neater fold, but with it being tissue paper, everything becomes a little more difficult. But it's still, there's enough there to cover the corner if you do it right. Yeah, this tissue doesn't like it very much. I'm afraid to be too rough with it. What happened is this piece slid out of place, so it needs adjusted. And then that goes in. And this goes up. It's causing me a little trouble because I have the cardboard has an openness to it that I believe that it's not grabbing the glue, enough glue to grab it really well. So you just have to, sometimes you just gotta do whatever, get it to go down. I think it's gonna be all right. Looks okay from the front. Go ahead and try and get this one to work. I'm making a mess. Okay, here we go. Works a lot easier if you're using cardstock or something a little stiffer. It's not. I'm finding that it's not the best. It's not the easiest thing to do with tissue paper on open cardboard, but it's getting there. So I'm just giving it a little help to stick down. And I'm just making sure it's smooth. Alright. Okay, I'm going to set that one aside. Let that dry a little bit. So this will be the front. And loosen that up a little. All right. Let's do this one same way. Okay, I want these moths to be on this front side, but I wanted them to be right side. Wanted the writing to be right side up, so I just cut it in the middle and turned it around. There, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then I will just glue this other piece right over top of it. the music, where it meets, is facing two directions. But I'm not worried about it. It looks okay. I like that. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to measure out my corners or mark them, but because this paper is so thin, it's hard to fold. I'm going to cut it just a little. Sorry, I keep putting that in my mouth. Cut it just a little bigger, or mark it and then cut it just a little. Give it a little bit more space so that it, because of the paper and the cardboard, so that it'll work a little better in this case. This works really well with fabric too, if you're doing boxes or, you know, different things, covering cardboard with fabric. Alright, I'm just going to cut those a little bigger, just in case. They were big enough on the other one, but they just, they were so thin that they weren't. And this is so corrugated that they weren't sticking very well, so maybe this will help. We're going to try it. I'm also giving it a little bit more setting time before I start manipulating the corners, and maybe that'll help too. For the glue to set just a little bit. Okay. Just trying to put some glue in there. And you just sort of push the corner in and down, and it draws in that side. I don't know why this tissue paper, maybe it doesn't like the, maybe it would like glue better, regular glue better than, or like a tacky glue. I'm going to be sorry later that I've got all this matte medium on my fingers because it's hard to get off most of the time. Corners are so soft that there's hardly anything to push the paper against. Because it's corrugated cardboard, of course. Probably wouldn't have mattered with this tissue paper because when it goes over itself, it's clear enough to where it almost the edges almost disappear. I probably could have just folded it over, but I like the corners to be nice. So here's this one. I can't leave it folded up like this because then these corners are going to stick together. So, but I wanted it to have a little bit of a memory, the paper being stretched, so that it wouldn't crack after it was dry and I folded it. Well, let's see how this one's doing. Looking pretty good. Well, there's a little place right there that didn't glue down very well, but it's going to be covered, so it won't matter. It'll get wet again. All right, let's see now. I think this one that I want to use some of this. Let me take a second to get some of this glue off my hand so I'll be able to work with things. I have a couple of binder cookbooks, old ones like Betty Crocker, and I don't know if the other one's a cookbook or a sewing book, but they're like, oh, probably from the 70s, because that's when I got married, was in the 70s, and I remember having them when I was first married. But I was going to get rid of them, and then I just realized the other day, wow, they'd make good books to work in. So probably going to be using those for some mixed media projects. Yeah, let me see if I can get this off. I use a piece of tape to take that apart. Oops. There's one layer. Don't know if this is... Yeah, that was just 2 layers. So it gets it started so I can pull it apart. And sometimes I save the back and use it for something. But not this time. So, I think... Not sure. I think I want it like this. I'll use that little butterfly. I'm going to go about right there. I'm just putting more matte medium on there. And it's not really totally dry underneath, but it's dry enough for me to work on. I could use the heat gun on it, but my puppy's afraid of it, so she's sleeping down here in the basket, not bothering me, so I'm not going to bother her right now. This is, let's see now. Alright. Make up your mind. There's a crease in it I didn't really like. Okay, I'm just putting And this over to the back. Oops. Okay, now let's let that dry for a second. Could put some more on the back. Okay. Oops. Some mischief going on back there. I'm gonna grab this little butterfly. So the edges of the book are going to be, they're a little kind of rough and not exactly flat everywhere, but I think it's going to add to the texture and look pretty nice. I think that's enough for now. Okay, now let this dry. Oops. So here's the front so far. Here's the back. And I'll set that aside for a few minutes. I'm going to keep that little piece. I might use it. And this one. Okay, now let's go back to the sky. Thinking maybe this would be cute to make a flip. this way. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to actually make this be the front. I'm going to put this on here. Maybe. Let's see. I don't... I didn't really want to cover the whole page. There's not really anything under there to speak of, but I might. First, I'll just I definitely don't want the words. It says Magnolia. I don't want that on there, I don't think. I know I could be doing this with a wet brush, but I'll just soon tear it, I think. It's wet enough. I don't want it to be wet before I even start. Okay. I really want some of this blue in there, so I think I'm going to separate. Oh, that's supposed to be a butterfly or a moth. It looks like a moth to me. I'm going to separate these. Then I could turn the flower sideways and it'll have some of the turquoise border, or turquoise for the border. Let's see, yeah. So it would be sort of like that, or that, and then maybe some of this. Not too sure about that. Whoops. I think that's what I'll do. Okay. Oh, grab that too strongly. Started moving everything all at once. Okay. Now, there's that part. I just realized I forgot to take the paper off the back of that. It didn't hurt it, just gives it a little bit more, makes the color look a little brighter because the white's behind it instead of it just being on there. But I want this to be, so I can get hold of it. There we go. Since this is going over the top, I want it to show through as much as it can. Just down here. Okay, now there we go. So that is started. So this one's going to open this way. Something on the back so it's not too dull. Still have this little butterfly. Oops. Right. Some flowers on the back too, I guess. Wait. Nope. I'm not going to put the flowers on the back. I think I'll leave it just like it is. Oh, where is that piece of music? Here it is. Kind of balances out the color a little bit. All right. I think that's going to be pretty cute. Opening a different way. Now let me see. Back to the other one. If I don't pick some of these up, I'll end up sticking them on where they don't belong. Surprised I haven't already. Okay, now back to this one. That front edge right there is very, very weak. Let's see. I'm going to take something. Just cutting this apart so it's easier to get to. Okay, got to scratch my eye. Okay. I'm kind of hoping that this will strengthen the edge of this book a little bit too, where it's kind of weak. Teach you to mess with me. I'll get out the tacky glue. Double whammy. Tacky glue and matte medium together. That'll do something to it, for sure. And this inside's going to be covered anyway, so it's not a drastic matter, but I want it to be glued down really well. And that edge really needed a little bit of help, because it felt really thin. My tacky glue, Eileen's tacky glue, I use it a lot. In fact, that's what I would normally be doing to do these books with. Excuse me. But I keep it in a excuse me, in an old light cover. This is like from a porch light. Screwed on like this. And the screws fit around here, so it held it like that. The light bulb went down inside, and I just put some fun foam on the bottom to act as stoppers on my table, and I just keep it in here like this all the time. So it's always, the glue's always at the top of the nozzle. And I have another one of those somewhere that I found at the Goodwill for like 50 cents or something, that I used to keep things in at another workstation. And then the other day we were in I think it was Menards, looking for some light fixtures, and they had them there for, I don't remember how much they were, but I don't think they were more than $3. So I was really surprised to see those. I guess they have them as replacements. But it makes it's nice and heavy, and I actually used this is the medium-sized bottle of tacky glue, and I usually have the big bottle, but I just ran out and bought this new smaller one. So it'll even hold the big bottle of the taller bottle of tacky glue without falling over. Pretty heavy glass. Okay, so I think on this one, that's probably all I'm going to do to the cover right now. Later on, I'll probably use some, I don't know if I'll use paint, but anyway, some other colors on there, and maybe some sprays and things to make it pretty. So this one's going to the side. And let's see what else I wanted to do to this one while it's... I don't think I need to put anything more on the front. I like that. The back, I think I'm going to leave it too. Well, actually, there's this... We're having a rainy, cold day here in Missouri, so I'm glad I don't have to be out in it. I'm kind of tired of cold and rainy. Ready for some sunshine, some warm air, and I'm ready to go for a ride on my motorcycle. It's been a long winter without riding. I'm not much of a gardener, but I am anxious to get some flowers out. They were very pretty last summer. If I can keep the puppy out of the flower bed where the mulch is. Oh, and she thinks it's hilarious to run through it, and it just goes flying everywhere. I mean, she just races through the bed and then turns around and looks to see if we're gonna yell at her because she thinks it's a game. So we put a little bitty fence up around the flower bed. It's just like, oh, I don't know, foot tall or whatever. Just big enough to where she couldn't, excuse me, run through it. Well, we've only put it on one side because we thought that would be enough to stop her. And it lacks about, oh, I don't know, 10 inches, 8 or 10 inches up by the side of the house where it goes up to the house. And she's already found that spot. So if you're not watching, she'll go up there and kind of sneak around the corner and get in the mulch. I never saw a dog who ate so much grass and liked to eat mulch. Fortunately, it's not the kind that's going to hurt her. She just likes to pull the grass up. She only pulls certain kinds, and she doesn't eat it. She pulls it up. And for some reason, it really bugs me, and my husband keeps saying, "Why does that bother you so much? She's not hurting anything. It's not hurting her. She's not hurting." I said, "I know, but she's eating the grass." Change my mind. Gotta put something here. So here's the teal one. And here's the rose. Okay, thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.